Hello guys, it's TZK and today we'll be talking about Doom the Dark Ages Revelations. The DLC has finally came out after a year, and I gotta say, I am impressed with it. I think this is genuinely one of the best, if not the best DLC we've had in a while. Although when it did launch, it was a bit rocky. The premium players like myself didn't actually get the DLC. We've had some issues with that, but it got fixed. Also, just as the DLC came out, the news about id Software came out about the layoffs, which is a shame because corporations like Xbox and Microsoft messed up, and now the guys at the bottom of the food chain have to pay for it. I hope the people who were laid off can find work again. One of my favourite things about this DLC is actually the music. I think Finishing Move did a really good job with this. You can tell they really took the Mick Gordon criticism to heart. They really did step up their game in this DLC. You can tell they really gave it their all. The music is just incredible. I don't know whether I'd say it tops Mick Gordon's stuff in 2016 and Eternal, but it's definitely up there. It would make Mick Gordon quite proud. If you haven't listened to the soundtrack yet, I would recommend it. It is 1000% worth it. There's even some old music that's been remastered, which you can hear segments of in Vengeance 49 Part 2. You can hear a bit of E1M1 in there, which is a nice touch. One of the newest additions in this DLC is the new spear weapon. You can do a lot of stuff with this. You can parry green projectiles, you can meat hook like Doom Eternal, ground slamming to get some health back, even stab enemies up close. You can throw the spear if they're too far away. There's even something for the range enemies like the Cyber Demon, the Arachnotron. You can spin the spear by dashing to block incoming bullets. And yes, you can now dash with the spear to dodge attacks, which is good. And on the hood there's actually a bar which when you fill up to red you can ground slam, stab or throw the spear. Parrying and meat hooking will work regardless if the meter is full or not. And with the addition of the spear, you've also got a skill tree which you can also unlock new abilities, which can be purchased at a hollow shrine. Purchased using platinum found in levels. Just like the main campaign with gold and rubies, you can buy 3 skills for each ability for the spear and 1 skill for endgame that has a separate currency called blood iron. There is also the base skills column on the left that you must unlock before you can buy the row of the other spear skills. And just like every modern Doom game, there is also a separate skill tree for health, ammo and armour, which when upgraded you just get more of it. They even have some endgame skills like an ability to send a shockwave out when you switch between the spear and the shield. The spear does take the same slot as the shield, so you can only use the spear or the shield. You can't have both, unfortunately. At the start of the game you do use the shield, but then you get the spear and you don't get the shield back until about 2 missions in. However, just because the spear is now in the game, it doesn't mean that the shield is completely useless. It can be used for solving puzzles and traversing the level. And using the spear for the first time did take some getting used to with all the different attacks and the controls. For some reason the keybinds on the spear were the opposite of the shield. So you press R to parry and right click to meat hook, which was opposite of what the shield was, so I rebinded those. It did cause a bit of confusion at first trying to get used to the spear, but yeah, the spear is a great addition to the game. It feels like Doom Eternal in a medieval setting. It's not like the main campaign where it was very grounded. I do much prefer this movement in Revelations as it gives you more ways to move around. I have always liked the fast-paced combat in games. If you are a fan of Eternal's flying movement combat, then this will definitely be the DLC for you. Classic enemies from Doom 2 return, such as the Archvile, who is quite challenging the first time you meet him. It did take me off guard a bit, and I wasn't prepared for like the amount of projectiles he threw at you. He does do his old stuff of resurrecting enemies. He also has some range attacks for Dark Ages, as most enemies now are ranged. I have found poking him with the spear does daze him a little bit. You do get that as an ability later in game, which makes him much easier to deal with. Although I do feel like he does need a bit of a nerf, as he does tend to have like a lot of health. It takes quite a lot to actually kill him. And the other classic enemy returning is the Pain Elemental. It's pretty much does the same thing as Doom 2, just throws lost souls at you. There's not really a whole lot of new to the Pain Elemental, but it's still a fun addition to the game. They are also still annoying, just like Doom 2, so nothing has changed much. And sometimes you can actually see the lost souls around his head, which he picks up one by one and starts to throw at you, which he can destroy to stop him from using them as ammunition to throw at you. Once we do get some old enemies, we do also get some new, such as the Warlock, who pretty much buffs the other demons and can even add fog to the map, making it difficult to see. That's kind of similar to the witches from the main campaign, as they use magic and throw magic spells at you. And there's even the buzzsaw as a saw for legs. He's more of like a melee enemy, so it tends to rush you quite a lot. Has a shield as well, which you can break with the spear once you shoot it enough times. And I will say the boss fights are pretty well made. They're similar to Ancient Gods, where it's all about patterns and throwing a lot at you at once. And in terms of quality, I will say it is better than the Dark Lord, where you would literally wait for him to flash green and then shoot him, slam him with the hammer and then shoot some more. It was made even worse by the fact you had to do this 5 times in order to actually defeat him, whereas the bosses in Revelations don't overstay their welcome. Sure, they have multiple phases, but it's not as dragged out as Dark Lord, and you're not standing there waiting ages for him to actually be vulnerable to shoot, which was one of my biggest issues with this boss fight when it first came out. Marek is the first boss you fight after collecting the crystals and trying to return home. He tries to stop you and is sent and controlled by the Con Maker. It's kind of similar to the Samur boss fight from Ancient Gods Part 1, where they throw like a lot of patterns at you, you gotta dodge a lot of stuff. I'd say it is less annoying. I remember that boss fight actually took a lot of skill. It's kind of similar to the Marek boss fight, where it does take skill and just like knowing the attack patterns. The henchman is actually a boss you see first in the game in the first level, although the game is scripted to make you lose the first time. And in the final mission Uprising, you do beat him again and you actually get to fully kill him this time, which I kind of like this boss fight actually. It gives you like a reason for wanting to defeat him, because in the first mission he does beat you up and then you end up in purgatory. And then the other missions like built up to that point where you meet the henchman again. It gives the boss a bit more meaning to it. There is actually a third and final boss called Zalgaroth, although he only appears in endgame once you beat the main campaign. More information on that later. But basically you go back to the Cosmic Realm to defeat a Pain Elemental boss called Zalgaroth, who throws tons of attack patterns at you, and you have to use everything from throwing a shield to meat hooking, dodging cosmic waves. Even the arena will change and you have to juggle movement and dodging. It's a crazy boss and honestly one of my favourites, I'd say, in the DLC. I just like the attack variety, and it actually challenges you to use your arsenal and everything you've learned to your advantage. This boss fight does feel a lot more arcadic with the boss as well, like the moving ground and having to fly around and use your shield. I like it. In total there are 6 levels, including a hub world that you visit after every mission, which also has a ton of exclusive secrets, platinum artifacts, and even areas to explore, so it's not just there to take a breather before every mission. You start out on Proving Grounds, where you go through a bunch of trails before meeting the council, and after being defeated by the henchmen you're imprisoned in purgatory. You essentially travel across the realms of hell, such as a frozen hell core, a cosmic Lovecraftian realm known as the Chasm of Zalgaroth. It's basically the same setting as the main campaign, just different layout. Osseous, which is a bone desert biome. Once you collect all 3 stones, you fight Marek, who was sent by the Con Maker to stop you, and after that you travel back to Ardent Dinur, where the Con Maker tries to make the people worship them after killing King Novik, but ends up backfiring. After defeating the henchmen, they begin to worship and follow the Slayer, and that is basically the entire story. I may have missed out a few things. I'm not really a Doom lore expert. However, each level is packed with secrets and collectibles to find, such as toys, weapon skins, platinum, even artifact pieces, which once you find all the pieces will reward you with more platinum, depending on the number of pieces. There's also leader essence shards, which is a separate currency to upgrade the first tiers of health, armor and ammo. Also, something to note, the secrets no longer appear on the map, unlike the main campaign, so you don't know if you're near a secret or if there's one nearby, which I kind of like, as it doesn't mean you can just find them using the map and cheat. Secrets are called secrets for a reason. Also, there's been some really cool Easter eggs found by the community, such as the dope fish, which appears in Doom Eternal and many other games. There's even the classic soundtrack in there too, which you can play on these pillars. And one of the most interesting things about the Revelations DLC, once you complete each level you get like a flashback sequence to the Slayer's past. It looks a lot more serious and moody from what we've seen before. You do get the classic shotgun with the classic aiming like the original games, where you look down the sights and you shoot non-demon soldiers trying to shoot you. And these main flashback sequences consist of planting bombs to blow up a hospital whilst this little girl torments you. Again, I'm not a lore expert, but I'm guessing the Slayer is related to her. I do feel like they could have maybe done a bit more with this, as they are a little bit short, and without proper lore knowledge you wouldn't really understand it. But it looks really cool. I like what they did with this. It adds a whole new unique perspective to the game. If you thought there was only 6 levels in this DLC and that's it, think again, because it has kindly provided us a lot more content. Once you do defeat the henchmen and you complete the campaign, you can actually go into endgame, basically go back to the old levels that you've played already, like Osseous and Uprising. There's actual new areas on the map which you can unlock, which you couldn't unlock earlier with a master key. And there is a new currency for endgame, which is Blood Iron, which is used to purchase the last tier of the spear upgrades, and also Praetor Essence shards from defeating Praetor encounters, which is used to upgrade the final tier of health, ammo and armor. You do also get some new artifacts, which again work similar to the platinum artifacts, it just gives you more blood iron. And also the hollow shrines, which you use to upgrade your skills at, can now be used to fast travel around the map, which is really helpful, so then you don't have to walk around for 2 hours trying to find the secret. And any secrets you did miss before endgame can also be found along with endgame content, so you pretty much get everything you needed, so don't worry about missing anything at first because you can get it back later. When it comes to modern Doom games, they do tend to have a trend of bringing back some of the old, and in every level you can find classic Doom 2 levels that have been completely remastered. They got the original graphics with updated ray tracing, they got water and liquid physics. They actually look really good on id Tech 8, and you can even get the classic Doom shotgun where you look down the sights and rack it like the classic games. I'm not sure if the Dark Ages enemies fit with this classic levels, they are mostly ranged and there's not much you can do except for dodging out the ways. You have no shield. But the shotgun is super powerful, enough to kill a monkey-bus in 2 hits, so it does balance it out. The classic encounters can be found in each level, and once complete rewards an artifact piece, which once you collect all of them you can unlock the classic shotgun, which you can actually use in the main campaign. It is incredibly powerful, it just rips like any leader. It's on the same keybind as the BFC, so that just goes to show how powerful it is. And speaking of the BFC, at first you don't get it in the main campaign, but you do get it back in the actual end game part, so you do have to complete the main campaign without your get out of jail free card, so you can't just blast everything away. But yeah, this is my favourite part of end game. It does remind me of Doom 2016's secret levers, where you pull like a secret lever outside the map and it will release like this part of a classic Doom level, except in the Dark Ages DLC the entire level is pretty much brought back with updated lighting and water. It looks really nice. Also, I like how they brought back Doom 2 in particular, because it's a sequel to the original Doom, and Dark Ages is also a sequel to Eternal in 2016. which is a nice touch. But yeah, Endgame does offer more than classic levels. It has a ritual of power, which is similar to 2016's arcade mode, where you're pretty much trying to complete a level in a certain time to get a bronze, silver or gold medal. If you get a bronze and silver medal, you do get resources like platinum or blood iron. However, if you get gold, you get a piece of an astral boss key. There is also Praetor Essence arenas, which you have to kill like a leader in an arena filled with tons of enemies. It is very intense. It does reward you with Praetor Essence to upgrade health, armor and ammo, and it also gives you a part for the astral boss key, which is for unlocking the Zelgaroth boss fight. Oh, and if you thought that was all, once you actually defeat this boss, you unlock master levels, which provides 4 more challenging arenas, and they are a lot more challenging and painful than regular levels. I didn't complete them as there was no achievement for it, as I was trying to 100% the game, which 100% in the game made me feel like Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones. It took about 20 hours of grinding, but I'd say it was worth it. I had a lot of fun with the DLC. But yeah, in conclusion, I think this is honestly the best DLC we've ever had. It is packed with tons of content, and just as you think it's going to end, they give you more to do, which I really like. I was quite surprised by Endgame and then getting surprised by Master Levels. You can really see where the 1 year of development time went. They really did spend their time well, and you can see that more towards the Endgame content, like where all the love and effort went into. Even the music's incredible. Doom Eternal's first DLC, The Ancient Gods Part 1, came out about 7 months after Eternal, and it had nowhere near the amount of content Revelations has. So the extra time was definitely worth it. But yeah, I gotta say, I really do like the endgame mode in this DLC. It adds more content, more than you actually expect at first. And it was definitely my favourite part of this DLC anyway. I do love what they did with the classic levels and the Zelgaroth boss. But yeah, like I mentioned at the start of the video, it's a shame what happened to id Software. It was quite unfortunate to get the news just as the DLC released. I do hope the people who were laid off can get back on their feet soon. But yeah, this is where I'm going to end the video here. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff, and yeah, I'll see you all next time.